Hello and welcome to Bowl Game Review Part 5. This was probably one of the best weeks of college football in the history of college football. I mean, only 4 games were played, and I feel like this was just the most enjoyable week of football I've ever watched. And so much can be taken away from this week, but let's get straight into it. You should like and subscribe and tell me your predictions and shit. That's cool. First off, I'd say a letdown game. I'll do predictions first, then like actual final score and the review. But I said this game would be really close, and it actually looked like at the start it could be very close, but Kansas State just really struggled to capitalize like that drive. They had it all the way down in like at the 2-yard line. They weren't able to convert and get a touchdown. And then I think Alabama literally took the ball from there and went all the way down the field and scored. It got really ugly really fast, and overall, Alabama kind of dominated, and with the absolute domination that they performed, this was the Alabama team that should be winning the national championship, in my opinion. This is the Alabama team that doesn't make mistakes. They're solid, and they're very, very good. The reason they have 2 losses is because they just made too many mistakes and oopsies. And the final score was Alabama 45, Kansas State 20. I believe Kansas State probably put those 7 points on. Yeah, they put the 7 points on at the end of the game with 3 minutes left. So it was really 45-13. It should have been a lot closer, like I said. Kansas State definitely could have put up a much greater competition, but they didn't. They struggled a lot with just getting in the end zone, and they would often fall short. But it is also it should also be noted that one of Kansas State's only touchdowns was actually a massive 85 or 88-yard touchdown, a breakaway run. That was one of their only touchdowns. So, I mean, take that away. Let's say Alabama doesn't allow that. I mean, Alabama holds them to 2 field goals pretty much the whole game. And this was the Alabama team that everybody was saying should win the national championship. It just sucks that they made that many mistakes, but it is what it is. Iowa versus Kentucky. I mean, of all the games, this was the most garbage, worst game. I mean, I think Iowa had 2 pick sixes. I thought Iowa would lose this because I thought Iowa was heavily overrated, but I don't really know if did Kentucky even have their starting quarterback in or what? It doesn't look like it. D. Wade or whatever for Kentucky didn't even throw for 100 yards. He threw 16 for 30 and 2 interceptions. They made Iowa look good. All 21 points by Iowa were scored in the second quarter. Then there was absolutely nothing after that. That is funny. What a terrible shit bowl game. And props to Iowa for winning their bowl game. I mean, 8-5 after that horrific start to the season. Probably the worst game of the year. I mean, we forget that South Dakota State versus Iowa was 3-3 at the end of the first half, and Iowa scored 2 safeties to give them a 4-point lead, and they won 7-3 in one of the most horrific performances I've ever seen. One of the worst performances I have ever seen. It was terrible. I don't even know. So it was a solid finish for Iowa. Iowa picked up in the season, showing some strength and whatnot. Beating Purdue pretty badly. That was a good win. Beating Wisconsin, beating Minnesota, losing to Nebraska. But then they finish off with a nice game, with a nice win over a pretty, I'd say, bad Kentucky team, a pretty overrated Kentucky team. Oh, this was the final score. Sorry, 21-0. TCU versus Michigan. Arguably, I thought at the time was going to be the best game. And everybody was saying that this was our second best game of the week. And our best game would actually be Ohio State versus Georgia. And I was like, no way in hell No way in hell this game is worse. And this, I said Michigan would win this because I truly thought Michigan was going to be our national championship winners. And, I mean, dude, fucking Cardinals better lose every single goddamn game so we can get Max Duggan, bro. He is crazy. TCU, okay. I just spilled chocolate milk everywhere. That's awesome. How did that happen? Who the fuck knows? Pause. Okay. I'm getting a rag right now. Temporarily going to clean this up. That was so stupid. I picked it up to move it, and it just chocolate milk went everywhere. God damn it. All right, TCU versus Michigan. Don't remember what I was saying. I truly thought that Michigan was going to be our national championship winner. They look so dominant. But the thing was, the takeaway from this, now I didn't get to watch the whole game, so I don't know if there was actually any after a certain point, but I watched until like halftime and a little bit after. I did not see any breakaway runs except for that like opener by Donovan Edwards. I did not see any breakaway runs, and to me, I mean, if we look back at the Ohio State game, that was where Ohio State lost. Ohio State allowed like plenty of breakaway runs by Donovan Edwards that gave him such a point gap. And TCU really didn't allow that much. But Michigan, I still believe Michigan should be our national championship winners, even though they lost. First off, Michigan has 40 more yards than TCU, so both were pretty even in the yards. Both teams had 3 turnovers. Michigan was 0 for 2 on fourth down efficiency. So, I mean, that's that. And I believe TCU actually, or Michigan threw a pick 6 on one of those turnovers. So, now, I'm pretty sure every turnover in this game led to points. Let's remember, though, props to Michigan. This is why I say Michigan was the number. It should be our national championship winner because at the end of the first half, it was 21-6. They came climbing back in. Then TCU put down unanswered. They put down a touchdown and then a pick 6, and the 2-point conversion was failed. And then it was just it was 34-22, 41-22, 41-30, 41-38. Michigan comes climbing back, and then a 76-yard touchdown pass for Max Duggan, and then a field goal, and that pretty much ended the game. I mean, what it looked like to me was Michigan kept climbing back in this game. They just got down too many times and let TCU run away. To me, if Michigan plays solid football, like if they score a touchdown in the first half instead of playing usual bad Michigan football in the first half, I mean, 21 of the 51 points scored by TCU were scored in the first half, whereas 6 of the 45 were scored in the first half for Michigan. Like, if you even out the points, like if you say, let's say Michigan scores 17 points in the first half or 21 points in the first half to get it tied, maybe even more, instead of just like playing not good football, Michigan takes this game home easily. But still nothing much to be said there other than holy shit, what a game. And I feel really bad for JJ McCarthy. I kind of talk this guy. He's something. He's really good. But Max Duggan takes the trophy home in one of the best games of all time. But the best game of all time. I mean, let's be real, y'all. People say, like, certain games like the Auburn, Alabama, Iron Bowl comeback, I don't know, just certain games, they say they're better. I say this was the best game of all college football. I could not believe what I was watching. I didn't think Ohio State really stood a chance. I thought Georgia was dominant. I did, however, think I was kind of looking at this game. I was going into it. I was like, dude, everybody's saying Georgia is going to win this game. Everybody's saying it. I'm kind of like, dude, is there maybe a little bit of upset fashion in it? Now, I didn't say a word about it because I didn't want to look stupid or anything. And I did truly think Georgia was really a very, like, our solid team. But if there was a hint of overrated in them, it showed in this game. Because holy fuck, dude. Like, I straight up was at work. I looked at my phone and I saw it was 35-24. Personally, I didn't care about this game, but I saw it was 35-24 and I wasn't really watching it. And then I was like, all right, so Ohio State's hanging in there. They're putting up some competition, but overall Georgia's got a pretty solid lead. And then I turn on the game on my phone and I look at it better and I'm like, oh my God, Ohio State's up 35-24. What? They're up right now? The moment I started watching it, however, it kind of just stopped. Ohio State didn't really do anything else after that. It was all Georgia. And man, the rest of the game was just it was so emotional. Like, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I didn't know who I wanted to win because I felt so bad for Stetson Bennett. He was freaking out the whole time. I also wanted CJ Stroud to like have a bounce back game. I wanted the underdog to win, but then it's also like, dude, I mean, it was so much like I didn't even know what to think when I was watching it. And then it came down to that final field goal, man. Shanked it to the left, and I was just like, I cannot believe this. That is crazy. This was probably the craziest game in college football history. And I only watched the end of it. I didn't even get to watch the first half. I mean, one of the best games ever. I was so mind boggled by this game. I was out of like reality. I was in fantasy land. I don't even know what to say anymore. I've said the same thing 5 times in a row. But, dude, Georgia advances. It is Georgia versus TCU in the national championship. Personally, the 2 games I would have wanted to see in the national championship, I wanted to see Georgia versus TCU or Michigan versus Ohio State. I did not want Ohio State versus TCU, and I sure as hell did not want Georgia versus Michigan. But it looked like we were going to get Georgia versus Michigan, but we're not. We're getting Georgia versus TCU, and let's fucking go Horned Frogs. Dude, this is the Horned Frogs year, I'm telling you. They're going to fucking win this. They're going to win this bitch. They're going to win this bitch. Mark my words. But that is all for the best week of football review. Like and subscribe again. Comment your predictions on the national championship. Tell me how good you did on your predictions. So tell me your takeaways from this. And yeah, that's all for me. Adios.